Alright my fellow agents, welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and as we roll into the weekend my friends, today I continue the series at the channel where I revisit a handful of builds I'm currently using in the game. And having said that, today I'm going to be highlighting 2 skill builds as well as a hybrid build. Now these happen to be builds I will use for most things in the game, and the reason I say most things and not everything is because I will not use these skill builds when I'm playing Countdown, because when you use something like this in that game mode, when you get to the very end and face the hunters, they are going to hack your skills and then you're going to murder everyone around you, and that absolutely sucks. I mean, it happened to me yesterday in a round. We're playing, we get to the very end, someone drops a stinger hive and just lets their assault drone fly free, and it was just instant death for like half the squad in like 10 seconds. So please do not make that mistake. But when it comes to using these builds, let's say in retaliation, farming, open world, missions, all that good stuff, they will definitely get the job done. On that note, we're going to cut right to the build breakdowns, and as always, I will leave timestamps in the video description. That way you can bounce in between the builds anytime you want. That's all I got for this introduction, my friends. Thank you once again for your incredible support, and with that being said, let's cut right to the footage. Now, starting with the specialization, you definitely want to use Technician, and you're choosing that for a few main reasons. First of all, you get that extra skill tier, which means you can spec into armor or weapon damage on one of your other pieces of gear. This specialization also gives you an extra 12% damage to drone skill proxies and robotics, and trust me when I say you're going to run into a ton of those on legendary difficulty. You also have access to the Talent Overclock CPU that will give you an extra 10% skill damage as well. And always remember, you need to make sure you have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now my primary weapon for this build is the Harmony Rifle. This is just the go-to gun that I use when I'm using a skill build. Now this does happen to be a PvP exclusive, but you can also get it from name caches as well. And the reason it is so effective is because it has the talent perfectly in sync. Hitting an enemy grants 20% skill damage for 5 seconds. Using a non-shield skill or damaging an enemy with the skill grants 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds as well. And not only that, damage increases are doubled while both buffs are active at the same time. Next we have the secondary weapon, which as you can see is the capacitor. This is one of those must-have exotics in the game, and the reason it is so effective is because it has the talent capacitance. Shooting enemies builds stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack is going to grant 1.5% skill damage, and not only that, for every skill tier you have equipped, you're going to get an extra 7.5% weapon damage as well. And because we're sitting at skill tier 6 for this build, it means we're getting an extra 45% weapon damage on this thing right off the rip. Now another great option is using the Test Subject AR that also has the talent perfectly in sync. Now one friendly reminder I like to pass along anytime I put a skill build together is that if you happen to use the TDI card custom as your sidearm, you can see it has a skill tier, but to be clear, that skill tier is only active when the weapon is in your hands, so you need to make sure you take that into consideration. Now moving on to the gear itself, you can see we're running 2 Hannah U and 4 Refactor. And for those of you out there who are just getting used to a skill build or legendary difficulty, I strongly recommend trying this gear set out. Now you can see the 2-piece bonus is 15% status effects, 3 pieces 25% skill damage, and 4 pieces return to sender. Receive repairs of 10% of the damage dealt by your skills, and if you happen to be rolling in a group, your allies will receive repairs of 20% of the damage dealt by your skills. Next we have the body armor. It's the first of 2 pieces of Hannah U. Now I happen to be using the Talent Glass Cannon on this version of the build. However, another great option is Kinetic Momentum. Moving on to the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves, they are the 3 remaining pieces of the Refactor gear set. And one thing I'm doing on every single piece of gear is stacking skill damage and a combination of skill haste and skill duration everywhere I can. Last but not least, we have the backpack. That is the second piece of Hannah U. We're using the named backpack, the Force Multiplier, because it has the Talent Perfect combined arms. Shooting an enemy increases total skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. Finally, as far as the skills are concerned, I'm using one of my favorite combinations in the game, which is the Assault Drone and the Assault Turret. But if you happen to prefer something else, you can use that as well. I'd also like to mention in the gameplay footage you're about to see, I do not have any global modifiers turned on. There are no season events going on either. And the main reason for that is I want to ensure that whenever you see this build, you know exactly what it can do without any special events going on. Hope this helped you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Hello once again, my fellow agents. I hope everyone is doing well on this fine day. So this is still my go-to farm in the game when it comes to legendary content, especially as a solo player, and that's farming unlimited bosses on any 10th floor in the summit. Now, this has been a go-to, method I've been using for, God, I don't know, years now. And the reason I prefer this method over farming, let's say, a legendary stronghold is because you're going to get guaranteed loot every single time you take out the named boss. At that point, once the enemy is taken down, you're going to pick up the loot, go back to the lobby, rinse and repeat as many times in a row as you like. Now, one thing you hear me mention every single time I talk about this farming method is that you do not want to clear the floor entirely. What you want to do is take out the first wave of NPCs. Once you do that, the named boss will show up. They become your hyper focus. You take out the boss, pick up the loot, go back to the lobby, and continue that process until you don't feel like farming anymore. Now, the main reason you do not want to clear the floor is because if you do, you'll be pushed up to floor 11. At that point, you'll have to get yourself to another 10th floor to once again see a boss. And the other benefit about not clearing the floor and going back to the lobby is that whenever you're done playing in the summit, you go play the regular game, or let's say you log out, you log back in, you will always be at that 10th floor, which means you can farm these bosses anytime you want to. Now, one thing you've heard me reference multiple times in this video is getting yourself to any 10th floor in the summit. I do not care if it's floor 10, 20, 30, 40, so on and so forth. Now, to be clear, if you get yourself to the higher 10th floors, 70, 80, or 90, you will face multiple named bosses at once. But for me, it's much more streamlined to take out one boss and just rinse and repeat that method. The other thing I want to mention is, let's say you're watching this video right now and you're on floor 13, you want to get to floor 20. You can get to that 10th floor on any difficulty that you want. It does not matter. So let's say you want to drop it to normal, get up to floor 20. When you get to floor 20, fast travel back to the lobby, change the difficulty to anything you want. And obviously, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I think that's all I got for this video, my friends. Thank you once again for everything. I'll leave you with a little bit more gameplay footage, just going through a few more rounds, showing you exactly what to do. Again, I can't stress this enough. Take out the named boss. Do not clear the floor, pick up the loot, go to the lobby, right? Really clear? Good. Last but not least, remember that if you're trying to pick up the bighorn, you have to farm on legendary difficulty because that is the only way you're going to get the weapon to drop in the summit. It's a legendary exclusive. Again, you can also go to, strongholds, but as a solo player, this is my favorite farm. This is what I recommend people try out. Anyway, that's all I got for this one, my friends. Thank you once again for everything, and I will see you in the next one.
Target approaching.
You also have access to the Talent Overclock CPU that's going to give you an extra 10% skill damage bonus. And always remember, please make sure to have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now, as far as the primary and secondary weapons are concerned, they are totally interchangeable. It's up to you. But as you can see on screen, my primary weapon is the Harmony Rifle. I'm using this because it has the talent Perfectly in Sync. Hitting an enemy grants 20% skill damage for 5 seconds. Using a non-shield skill or damaging an enemy with a skill grants 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds as well. And not only that, but damage increases are doubled while both buffs are active at the same time. Making our way to the secondary weapon, it's the Capacitor. As you've heard me mention in previous videos, this is another one of those must-have exotics. It has the talent Capacitance. Shooting enemies builds stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack is going to grant 1.5% skill damage, and you can also see for every skill tier you have, you're also going to gain an extra 7.5% weapon damage. So because we're sitting at skill tier 6, it means we're going to get an extra 45% weapon damage bonus when we're using this weapon. And in the meantime, if you do not have either of the weapons I just mentioned, you can use the test subject. It also has the talent Perfectly in Sync. You can also feel free to use your favorite assault rifle or rifle combination, whatever you want, with the regular talent in sync. I can promise you that will still get the job done. Now making our way to the gear itself, you can see we're running 3 Empress International, 1 Wyvern, 1 Hannah U, and the Waveform holster. Now starting with the mask, it's the first of 3 pieces of the Empress International. We're running 3 so we get all of the brand set bonuses. 10% skill health, 10% skill damage, and 8% skill efficiency. Next we have the body armor. It is the new named body armor, the Impetus. Now you can see it has the talent Perfect Kinetic Momentum. When in combat, each skill generates a stack while active or not on cooldown. Stacks increase your total skill damage by 1.5% and total skill repair by 2%, up to 18 stacks per skill. Moving on to the holster, we're using the Waveform with its talent Alternating Current. Generate a stack of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second, capping at 10 stacks. After 10 seconds at the cap, the stacks transfer to your other skill. The process then repeats nonstop. Next, we have the knee pads. They are the second piece of Empress International. After that, we have the gloves. It's the one piece of Hannah U, and you'll notice that second attribute is Armor Regen. I'd much rather it be skill haste, skill duration, but again, this is just what I have to put this build together. Finally, my friends, we have the backpack, third and final piece of Empress, and as you can see, I'm using the Talent Tech Support. Skill kills are going to increase skill damage by 25% for 25 seconds. That is an absolute lifetime in this game, so remember, let the skills do the killing for you. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm using the combination of the Assault Drone and the Assault Turret. However, to be very clear, you can use any skill combination you want, my friends. This just happens to be my favorite. Let me know what yours are in the comment section down below, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can.
Reinforcements incoming. Detecting additional hostile contacts.
one of my favorite aspects about putting build videos together here at the channel is the fact that we've created a really incredible family here, and we're always talking about different builds we're working on, recommendations, all that good stuff. Now, having said that, a few days back I posted a video based around the new core strength gear set, and in the comment section of that video I received about a dozen messages from people saying, you know what, try this version, you absolutely love it, and my friends, once again, you are totally right. Therefore today, my friends, I want to take a few moments and highlight a build that you recommended I try. Now I want to pass it along to other people as well. And what's really great about this build is the fact that you're going to get a bunch of weapon damage, skill damage, as well as a ton of survivability. And it's all possible because of this new gear set. Now, starting with the specialization, we are using Technician, doing that for three main reasons. First of all, you get that extra skill tier. Secondly, you have an extra 12% damage to drone skill proxies and robotics. You also have access to the Talent Overclock CPU that's going to give you an extra 10% skill damage bonus. And as I mentioned in every single build video I post, always remember to have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now, my primary for this build is the capacitor. Now, if you do not have this weapon, thankfully it is in the general loot pool. You can farm for it anywhere the assault rifle is the targeted loot. And if you've never gotten one before, you can actually get one guaranteed by completing certain challenges in the summit. Now, the reason this weapon is so effective is because it has the talent capacitance. Shooting an enemy is going to build stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack is going to grant 1.5% skill damage, and not only that, for every skill tier you have equipped, you're going to gain an additional 7.5% weapon damage as well. That means because we are sitting at skill tier 6, we get an extra 45% weapon damage on this thing right off the rip. Now, we need to mention the fact that my capacitor is at expertise level 16, so your damage numbers could be a little bit lower or a little bit higher depending on if you have spec'd into this thing. Now, the secondary and sidearm are totally up to you, my friends, dealer's choice, but I do want to mention if you do not have the capacitor, in the meantime while you're farming for it, you can use the test subject assault rifle that is going to have the talent perfectly in sync. I can promise you that can still get the job done. Now, moving on to the gear itself, you can see we're running 3 core strength, 1 unit alloys, 1 brazos, and the Ninja Bike backpack, which is what we're starting with. Now, most of you know exactly how this works, and we're using it for 2 main reasons. First of all, you get 3 core attributes with this backpack. You get that weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier. And this also has the talent resourceful, and that slots in with any equipped gear set and or brand set item to fulfill a requirement towards unlocking a gear set's bonus. Now, that simply means even though we only have 3 pieces of core strength equipped, we do get the 4-piece bonus, which is exactly what we're targeting. You can see the 2 pieces 10% weapon handling, 3 pieces 5% weapon damage, total armor, and skill efficiency. And the 4 pieces core exercise. For each core on your gear pieces, receive 40% of the other 2 cores bonuses, and skill tiers count as 15% skill efficiency when these bonuses are applied. That means because we're sitting at skill tier 6, that's an extra 90% skill efficiency bonus. Now that takes us to the body armor, and because we're wearing a core strength body armor, which by the way you want to wear with any of these builds, you're going to have access to the talent inner core, and that increases the percentage of the bonuses you receive from the other cores from 40 to 75%. And what that simply means is on every single piece of gear, I'm also getting 75% of what an armor core represents and what a weapon core represents. And that's why I'm sitting here. I'm at skill tier 6. I only have 1 armor core, but I have 2 million armor total, which is absolutely insane. Next, my friends, we have the holster. It's the 1 piece of brazos, and again, because of the Ninja Bike, we do get 2 brand set bonuses. We are targeting that second one, which is that extra skill tier. So just by equipping this thing, we have 2 skill tiers on it, as well as that second attribute, which is that 10% weapon damage. Moving on to the knee pads, it's the 3rd and final piece of core strength, and you'll notice I'm doing my best to stack skill damage and a combination of skill haste and or skill duration everywhere I can. Last but not least, we have the gloves, the 1 piece of unit alloys, but again, because of the Ninja Bike, we do get 2 brand set bonuses. That is 5% rate of fire and 20% assault rifle damage. As far as the skills are concerned, I'm using one of my favorite combinations in the game, and that is the assault drone and the assault turret. But if you want to use something else, you totally can. I'd also like to mention in the gameplay footage you're about to see, I do not have any global modifiers running whatsoever, and the main reason for that is I want to ensure that whenever you see this build, you know exactly what it can do without any special events going on. Hope this helped you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage and a few final thoughts. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone. Hello once again, my fellow agents. I hope you're doing well on this fine day. Few things I want to cover really quick. First of all, when it comes to this gear set, it's very important to know that this is not going to hit as hard as a striker build. This is not going to hit as hard as one of your typical skill builds, which I've posted here at the channel numerous times. However, if you're looking for a balance between weapon damage, skill damage, and armor, this gear set is definitely something you should try out because again, one armor core, and I'm sitting at 2 million armor total for my base, which is absolutely incredible, and I say that because I've been hearing messages from people, they're trying out this gear set, they're actually able to jump into difficulty they could never try out before, so it's a good thing, you know what I mean? But again, to be very clear, this gear set is truly designed to put together hybrid builds. I mean, one thing I'm hearing from people out there, let's say you put together an all red core version, what you're noticing is that even if, let's say your character is downed, your reviver hive comes back incredibly fast. So again, my friends, I'll continue to post different videos here over this gear set. And if you happen to have any requests or recommendations, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. The main goal is to help out as many people as we can. That's all I got for this video, my friends. I need to race out the door for work. Speaking of which, my schedule is going to change soon, but my goal is to still try to bring you at least 4 or 5 videos a week. That's what I've been able to do for the last month, so hopefully I can continue that trend. Your support has been incredible. I mean, we're less than 2,000 subs away from 100,000, which is just absolutely insane to say. I mean, it's just, I don't know, whatever. It's I appreciate all of you so much. That's all I got for this thing, my friends. Thank you once again for everything, and I will see you in the next one.
Reinforcements en route. Detecting additional hostile contacts. Hostile detected. Hostile broadcast detected. Supply room access unlocked. Hostile broadcast picked up.